Hello, everyone. I'm so excited. I'm going to bring down the music just a bit. I know we got the vibes going. I'm so grateful to have you all here. My name is Chanel, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Mentor Me Collective. Again, we want to welcome you. Welcome you once, twice, three times, honey, to the Tech Means Business 2-week non-technical career series. We're so excited. I want you all to know that you do not have to know tech. You do not have to know code, to get into tech. You don't have to know design. You don't have to understand how to analyze data in order to have a really great and fruitful career in tech. I'm actually today actually, we have an amazing guest who's actually going to tell you a little bit more about his journey, how he also is a tech titan doing the amazing customer success. So as you guys are coming in, please go ahead and let us know where you all are tuning in from. Again, we say greetings, 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 greetings to all of our family. We have some folks tuning in, I know, saw from Brazil and Australia, Ghana, Benin, Nigeria, Sweden, in the UK. So we're just so excited, and we just want to welcome you all. Take a moment to share. We want to evangelize, honey. Let the people know, okay, that we are on the line and we're talking about some amazing things. You guys can go ahead and share on LinkedIn and or YouTube if you all are viewing there. And also, I want you all to make sure that you're connecting with others, right? So this is not just a moment where you all are tuning in and listening, but we want to make sure that you all are coming and building up your tribe, building your network. So please know that your network is your net worth. Okay, and again, drop in the chat where you all are tuning in from. Now, again, we are celebrating Financial Literacy Month with some of the greatest Black technologists. And again, we have one who you all will get to experience in just a moment. But first, let us know where you are in your non-tech journey, honey. Are you in school, boot camp, or self-learning? Are you applying for your first role? Are you growing and glowing, honey, in your career? Drop those emojis in the chat and let us know where you all are in your careers. I see you all flowing in. Hey, from Florida, what's going on, fam? Hey, Diamond. Y'all, oh my gosh, hey, from Minnesota. So listen, make sure you all are thumbs upping or liking the video, child. Like this video. Make sure you also share as well. We're very excited to have you all, again, join us for sure. Guess what, y'all? We launched our event hub. So we're no longer doing specific events where you just go and find a link tree. No, we want you to go directly to our website, which shows all the events we have literally from now up into the next month and ongoing, honestly. So we want to let you guys get familiar with going and seeing what new events are up. And this one here is new, and this is going to be featured for our next month here, Make Design Accessible. So obviously accessibility is a very, very huge thing, and we all have different ways that we think about accessibility. For me specifically, I want for tech industry, tech titans and tech careers to become more accessible. And how do we do that? By educating our communities. So this is one of the ways that we're going to go ahead and do that. And again, this is in conjunction with Accessibility Awareness Month. So visit bit.ly/MMC dash hub, and you guys can go ahead and check all that out. You'll be able to register as well. We have amazing sessions happening all that week from the 9th also up until the 13th. So very, very excited, and we're also looking forward to seeing you all there. Next, we have Defying All Odds. So this is actually the session to talk about careers in accessibility. So engineering, design, product, UX research. I definitely want you all to understand that if this is a topic that you all are very passionate about, you all have the opportunity to dive in, so go ahead and do so for sure. Again, visit bit.ly/MMC-hub. We also have remote work week, y'all. Listen, we is traveling, okay? We are expanding our wings. The world is opening up, thank the Lord. And we want to invite you all to travel with us. We're going to be in Orlando, Florida, May 29th to June 4th at the Grove Resort and Water Resort. It's absolutely amazing. It has a resort on the property, as well as like a spa and all those other things. Stainless steel kitchens are in the room. I mean, it's top tier. Every room has its own bathroom because you can have up to 3 bedrooms per suite. So we definitely want to make sure that you are traveling in style and also living in the way that you guys can. For me personally, I'm working on my health, y'all. So I want to make sure that I'm able to cook healthy foods and not always eat outside. So this is an opportunity for you all to continue to maintain your health lifestyle as well as exercise, because they do have a gym on staff too. So anyway, if you guys are interested, go ahead and check out bit.ly/MMC-travel. It is free to register. We do have bi-weekly meetings just to kind of make sure everyone is ramped up. And we also want to make sure that you all know that we will be going to Disney World or Disneyland, whichever one is in Orlando. We'll be going there for a full day, and we have a full week, honestly, of activities that we're going to do together. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all there, hopefully. We also have a referral zone. So y'all, no more awkwardness, no more hassleness, no more having to feel like you have to make someone like you in order for you to get a referral. We have a referral zone that hosts all of these amazing companies that will have folks on the other end submit those referrals for you. We definitely just want to make sure that, again, you are making sure that you add your job ID or the job link specifically to that role. You want to make sure that you are describing who you are in third person, and so on and so forth. So these are all the companies that you all can go ahead and submit referrals for. I myself represent my company, and there's so many other people as well. So please lean in. Go ahead and visit bit.ly/MMC-refers, and it will take you directly to our link tree that hosts all of the companies with the Google Forms, or it will have a link. So that specific link is the referral. So if you see that, that's also very good as well. Okay. Now, I know we said a lot, but we still have a couple other things that we want to get into. So I just want to, again, welcome you all and allow you all to meet the team. We want to talk a little bit more about our free mentorship program, where we are mixing career coaching and technical expertise to make sure that you are ready for that next career. We want to talk a little bit about our text reminders so that you all never miss another event again. If you all are watching the replay, I want you to make sure that you guys opt in so that you can know and get notified when we do go live. We do have an Etsy shop that is dedicated to helping folks in tech get software and devices. A lot of people in our community are first gen, so we want to make sure that they have the tools they need to succeed. And then lastly, we always end with a giveaway. So here's the team. Here is myself, founder and CEO. We have the COO, Javon, and also the Chief Strategy and Business Officer. So we're all a wonderful team, but we also have new additions, and we're so very excited to have them. We have our graphic designer, who is actually responsible for all the designs in our Etsy shop. We have our event host and DJ, which you all probably have already seen her either at our virtual block parties or hosting sessions like these. And then we have our lifestyle content designer, Sharika, which I'm so excited. So when you do go and visit our website, you'll be able to kind of interact with different kinds of faith-based content that will continue your wonderful career, not only your career portion, but also your personal growth as well. So again, we talked about free career coaching earlier, and I'm so excited because y'all, this is real. It is going to be a 4-month program that launches in Q4, where we are taking the career coaching portion and also the technical expertise, pairing you with an amazing mentor that is going to help you gain those skills by doing projects together. So you're building your portfolio, you're working in teams, you're gaining those skill sets, and you're able to now go ahead and be placed in one of our sponsoring companies. So if you are interested in that or interested in becoming a mentor, please feel free to visit our bit.ly links, bit.ly/MMC-mentee or bit.ly/MMC-mentor. Again, we talked about our text reminders. Just go ahead and text MMC to 866-901-1914. Again, that is 866-901-1914. Oh, we talked about our Etsy shop. And again, all these proceeds go directly to our fundraiser. Again, our goal this year is to raise 10K. We're at about 3.4K, so we're excited about that. But again, we have a lot of time to get to that goal. So everything and anything that you do purchase, it goes directly to our community and helping them to live and grow and really dwell in the fruitfulness that I know the Lord has for them. So please go ahead and go to etsy.com/shop/Mentor Me Collective, and you'll be able to see the exclusive merch that we have for this month. Financial Literacy Month. Now, we already talked about MMC not having an event with an amazing MMC giveaway. So I'm very excited to have you all joined in that. We do want to make sure that you attend all sessions and bring a friend. Again, we're evangelizing, honey. Share this event with someone. Put it on Instagram. Take a picture right now and be like, hey, I'm live with Chanel and her amazing guest. We definitely want to make sure that you guys have a notebook and pen as well. Take notes because that is going to be on our quiz. And make sure, again, that you're connected with us on social media. Now, the way that we know that you have connected and tuned in is by aiming your phone at this wonderful QR code and visiting our virtual photo booth, okay? So we definitely want you all to go ahead and chime in there, like we already said. Take notes, text MMC to 866-901-1914, because that is also where we're gonna go ahead and send the quiz. So here is some snaps from our amazing photo booth. Tech means business. So again, you have the ability to make a different color backgrounds or different color borders as well, overlays. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Definitely take a picture, take a moment to snap. If you did not have a chance to snap beforehand, here is the QR code again. Or if you guys are on the computer, you guys can just go ahead and put in bit.ly/MMC-TMB. Again, bit.ly/MMC-TMB, and that will take you directly to our photo booth. These are some of the giveaway prizes. We have the Apple AirTags, the HomePod Mini, the Hydrate water bottle, which is a smart water bottle, y'all. It lights up, it vibrates, and it tells you when you need to drink your water. You can add friends, you can compete. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. And also we have the Nano Leaf smart light bulbs. Who wants to, get out of bed when you've already found your space? You can actually use your phone to turn off lights with these Nano Leaf smart light bulbs. So y'all, listen, elevate your environment, honey. Get techie with your environment. Bring it together. So we're so excited to be able to give that with you all. But again, you did not come here to hear me rant about the giveaway or all of the other things. You came here to lean into amazing conversations with our amazing guest, Mr. Dennis. Hey, Mr. Dennis. How are you? Oh man, you're mute. It's okay.
I just popped up on screen. I wanted to mute so I could hear all the wonderful things you were saying, and I can attest to those light bulbs that you can control remotely and change the colors. Hot.
They're hot, right? I have a couple in the house too, and it's one of my favorite additions as well. So I would love to kind of hear a little bit about you. You're in customer success, but you're also the executive director of BID. So, and if you guys don't know, BID is Blacks in Technology. I know you guys have seen them. They've been taking the world by storm. So I would love to kind of dive into a little bit of that.
Okay, yeah. So I'll give you a real high level of BID, even though I'm here in my customer success capacity. My passion is Blacks in Technology. And if you're not familiar with the Blacks in Technology Foundation, we are a nonprofit, 501c3. Global organization. We have 60 chapters representing 12 countries. I think at last count, we're close to 17,000 members. And the whole mission of Blacks in Technology is to increase the representation of people of African descent in tech. So if you're Black and you do anything in tech, or you aspire to do anything in tech, we have resources for you. We have, free and discounted training programs. We have, training vouchers and certification vouchers and accelerator, program scholarships and grants. So if you want to advance your career and you're already in tech, great place to go and do that. We also have folks who are looking to kind of get that first job, that entry-level role. So we provide support and resources for that too. And it's free to join. So there's, no real reason why all of you should not be BID members. So if you want to join, the URL is foundation.blacksintechnology.net. Maybe somebody can drop it into the chat. But basically, it's a great place to network. Our conference, incidentally, is going to be in Orlando at Disney World. So it's going to be in October. So mark your calendars, October 26th through the 28th. And it's going to be crazy. We got a lot of good stuff planned. And I'm trying to, pull a sneak end around for Black Panther's release, which is in November. I'm seeing if I can get a pre-screening on that, working with Disney.
Get us all the way in.
Trying to make Wakanda real.
Yeah! This is amazing. Folks are in the chat. They're so excited. We have some designers that are interested, but folks are just saying this is amazing. They love it. So yeah, we're also going to be there for sure. We're going to be pulling up. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and drop that link. But without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and drive it on over to you, Mr. Dennis.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank everyone for taking some time out of their schedule to spend some time with me. Hopefully, you'll find it productive and fruitful. I won't hesitate. We'll just jump right in. If I can, there we go. So, with respect to who I am, my name is Dennis Schultz. I am the um, current customer success account manager at Microsoft. Previously, I've held roles in customer success at HPE as well as Rackspace Technology. Prior to that, I spent about 20 years in tech, in mostly customer facing roles with major companies. So when I say major companies, large OEM brands like Dell and Lenovo and Samsung. Also spent time at Gardner and Dropbox. But the challenge in those roles versus what I'm doing now is night and day. And I was in sales, so I had a quarterly quota that they put you on. And if you don't hit the quota, then you get put on a performance plan. And if you don't meet the performance plan next quota, you don't have a job. So every quarter was a little bit of stress. And every quarter, the quotas go up. And if you aren't on a good path to begin with, it's a short career for you. So I was fortunate to do well in sales and pivot to my current roles in customer success. So if we go to the next, there we go. All right. So with that being said, the customer success role, I'll tell you what I like about it, and then we'll kind of dig into what the role actually is. But in essence, what customer success is basically managing the customer from the time that the sale is made till the time that they stop being a customer. And what I like about the role versus my other roles is as a sales rep is that one, I get to work remote and set my own schedule, which is lovely. Even pre-pandemic, I was working from home, wearing shorts to work. Every now and then I'd dress up with a polo shirt. But it's nice to have that flexibility and freedom. If I wanted to have a doctor's appointment, chances are I could fit that into my work schedule without having to take, time off or use my vacation days, which is nice. And for all intents and purposes, I set my own schedule. So I work with my customers to, provide times that they're available. But other than that, everything else is managed by me and working with my internal teams. And I'll discuss a little bit more about that too. Second is that job stability that I mentioned, because I have been downsized. I've been, laid off and let go. Sometimes it was performance related. Sometimes it was just the nature of the company. They just didn't need any more sales reps at that time. So it was a tough time during the times where you're looking for work and you're not sure where the next role is going to be. And with this position in this role as a customer success manager, you don't have to necessarily worry about the job stability piece from a sales perspective. I mean, if you're coming from another role, you probably don't have that issue. But as a sales rep and an enterprise sales rep at a high level, it is definitely a concern and something that's on the back of every sales rep's mind is, a couple bad quarters, you can be out the door. So I like that stability personally. Next is compensation. So nobody ever really gets specific and talks about money, but I will from my personal perspective, just so you understand what the what the floor and what the ceiling is. Because it's one thing to say the role is great and it does all these things, but when people kind of tippy toe around how much money you can actually make, it gets frustrating to me. So I'll tell you, so I've been in the customer success capacity for the past 3.5, 4 years. When I first started out, I took a pay cut from my sales role, and my base was around $104,000. When I started at Microsoft, my base, and this is 3.5, 4 years later, my base was 150 with a target compensation of 185. I'm expecting to do just over 2 for the next 12-month calendar year. Working from home in my shorts. That's what I consider good money. If you're wondering what good money is, so there's room to grow. I mean, I'm not at the top of the scale, and there's opportunities for folks who want to move into management and want to advance their career. Just as an individual contributor in the customer success capacity. So hopefully that inspires somebody to take the next step. Next up is the growth opportunity. So within customer success, you can stay and make that your whole career. But if you wanted to move laterally in an organization, or if you wanted to leave an organization, this is a high demand role. There have been a 700, and I think, actually I won't think, I'm going to look at my notes, 736% increase in the number of jobs since 2015, according to LinkedIn. So every year, companies are starting to develop a customer success practice, and it's a relatively new thing. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I guess we can go to next screen. Good to go. I guess this is where I can tell you a little bit about the history of the CSM. So, as I mentioned, it's not really something that has been around for a long time. When Salesforce was in the process of developing their CRM, they realized that they were experiencing a lot of attrition. Customers weren't staying. They would, hop on, try it, and if they didn't get the experience that they thought they would, they'd leave. It was no long-term contract. Their model, their SaaS model, wasn't something that was, making customers stay. There was no contractual obligation, so they really had to provide a service that people wanted in order for them to stay. And they developed the role of the customer success manager as a way to be a higher touch to the customers they wanted to keep. And it's a lot cheaper for an organization to retain a company or a customer than it is to develop a new one. I think it's like 1.5%, the money and energy it takes to get a new customer versus keep the old one. So it just makes financial sense for them to put more emphasis into retaining customers. And this was introduced in 1999, but there hasn't been a lot of talk about customer success until the past couple of years. In fact, there wasn't even a college level course dedicated to CSMs until 2017. And those were like master's level courses. I think in 2020, the first undergrad courses started to appear, but that's good news in a sense because nobody has figured it out. And the way that companies are approaching it is a little bit different for each company, but there are some common denominators. So what is a customer success manager or a CSM? Basically, the primary role is to be the primary point of contact for customers once they complete the sales cycle. So once a customer is a customer officially, they're handed off to a customer success manager who is supposed to be both the voice of the organization and a trusted advisor to that said customer. So you want to be involved in all the conversations that they have at a strategic level, but you don't need to be technical. Like Chanel said, this is one of those roles where you don't necessarily have to have a technology background in order to be very, very successful. And the fact that as a sales rep, I was technically astute, I guess is the best way to put it, but not very technical hands-on. It lends itself to a role working with customers, both internally and externally, in order to bridge that gap, making sure that the service providers that you have within the company are meeting the expectations of the customer. And I'll go to the next, which is the fun stuff. All right. So as a customer success manager, your goal is to reduce churn. And what when we say churn, if you're not familiar with that term, that's basically customers leaving. So you want to basically be that firewall between you and a customer leaving, and make sure that whatever the customer is deciding, long term, their corporate strategy, their IT strategy, that you know what it is that your company can do to help them with their long term goals. And the second piece to that is driving growth. So driving growth is basically just what it sounds like. We want to find opportunities to sell this customer more things, but not do it in a way that is going to be perceived as you pitching them all the time, but more subtle as a consultative sell, and to be a handoff to the actual sales and business development folks to do that work. So the way I look at my role is, I'm not going to sell my customers anything directly, but I'll be more or less a spy and feed information and say, you might want to follow up on this based on our last conversation with the customer. They're looking at, X, Y, Z down the road. Might be a good opportunity for you to bring that up, those types of things. But you want to maintain your credibility with the customer as that trusted advisor, so they keep giving you information and they don't feel like they're being sold every time they talk to you, which is, kind of a fine line to walk with respect to growth. The next is increasing retention. Typically, customers are going to be on a 1 or 2 year cycle when it comes to contract renewals, especially for SaaS companies. You should know well in advance if your customer is going to stay or not. So there is a lot of work and effort that goes into understanding where the customer is, taking their temperature throughout the year, making sure that if there are any hiccups or areas that you just fell down at as a company, that you mended those fences well before the renewal time, and really just being that voice to the customer, and also the voice of the customer back to your organization to say, look, we're really dropping the ball here. You want to make sure that the company understands what they need to do in order to maintain the customer relationship as well. Next is the realization of CX. So, and CX stands for customer experience, and what the customer expects and what you actually deliver is totally up to the customer success manager. And I'll be frank, I've had situations where I've had to, raise my voice internally about certain situations that happen with my customer because people weren't taking it serious enough. And, and again, that's just being that advocate and that voice to the customer, say, look, if you want to keep these folks, you got to step up. That realization of what the customer expects versus what the customer thinks they should provide, if that's a disconnect, you're going to have a hard time renewing that customer, or at least keeping that customer long term. So those two should always be in alignment, and it's part of your role and goal as a customer success manager to make sure that you know exactly where the customer is with respect to their expectations. And let's see what else. Skills. Transferable skills in this role are phenomenal because everybody has these skills or can develop these skills. So like I said, you don't have to be necessarily technical, but you have to know how the technology of the company that you're working with affects the company that is the customer. So the way I look at it is, I can be wide, but not necessarily deep. So I just have to know the business drivers for the customer and how our products relate to those business drivers. With Microsoft, it's a little bit difficult because there's so many products, but there's also support internally that I can lean on. I don't necessarily need to know everything, nor do they want me to know everything. That's what the experts are for. My job is to identify those opportunities for, as we mentioned earlier, growth and retention. You have to be a good problem solver. When problems come up, sometimes it's creativity that wins the day. So I wasn't hired for any of my customer success roles for what I knew, but basically what I could bring to the table with respect to relationships, relationship management, both internally and externally, and creative ways to solve problems. Sometimes you need to pick up the phone, actually have conversations with people. Sometimes I'll actually need to drive somewhere and see somebody face to face in order to make sure that problems are solved. But that's relatively rare. I do about 25% travel in my current role, and it's mostly regional. So I can drive and come back home at the end of the day, which I like. You have to be a strong communicator, both verbally and written. You don't necessarily have to be an author, but you should be able to communicate, pretty concisely and efficiently exactly what the problems are, what things need to be solved. Coordinating and scheduling meetings should be, second nature. Following up with people, on a regular basis. Hey, you say you're going to get this to me at 5 o'clock in the day. It's 5:01. Where's that? Those types of things, and just make sure you maintain that level of trust with the customer. If there's a problem internally with the customer and I know about it, I'll tell them. I'll be like, look, there's an outage, and you're going to experience it, and you may not, but I wanted to give you a heads up that this is going on. And they appreciate that. Things you can do to build credibility is be responsive and be honest and make sure that you're working on their behalf. So from my perspective, with my customers, I look at myself as an extension of their team. So I'm invited to the team meetings, both at the low level and also at the senior level. And in order to stay there, you want to maintain a certain level of credibility and tact and professionalism that they feel is worthy of their organization. So if you can do those things, you might be a good CSM. And I think I got a few more minutes. I think we have one more slide, or actually, this is the thank you slide, but I want to give you one other gem before I just close out officially with my time. And I don't know if I'm over or under talking, but there's a book called the Customer Success Professionals Handbook, right? And this book is, I won't say it's a must read, but it's a very strong suggested read for anybody who's considering a career in customer success. It is an audiobook. I actually have listened to it a couple of times. It's great at giving the history of the role, but also some practical tips on what you can do to be a strong customer success manager. And I think that is where I'm going to stop and make sure I have plenty of time for questions. So, how did I do?
That was fantastic. The crowd was so excited and so engaged as well. Even your facts about the fact in 2017 was super interesting, and just seeing the trajectory of now the careers in customer success versus then and now is amazing. So yeah, y'all, if you have any questions, totally drop them in the chat. We did see one that just came in earlier on from Taisha, and she said, are there any trainings or boot camps for people who want to get into CSM?
That's a good question. And right now, I don't think there is. I haven't run across any yet specifically dedicated to customer success. What I'll do though is I'll research it, because there's probably some out there I just don't know about. And I don't even think you need a boot camp though. To be totally honest with you, I think what people are looking for are those transferable skills from other roles. So if you have customer service experience, if you have service delivery experience, if you are technical and want to do something non-technical, you should just apply to some of these roles, because right now there are no rules. It's really that new.
That's awesome. I hope that also answered your question, Ty. So Dominique has a question. What would you say is the most needed trait to be successful in customer success? I know you talked about a good number of them, but of those, which one would you say is definitely number one?
Yeah. And the one I actually didn't mention is probably empathy, because you have to be able to empathize both with what the needs of the customer are and what the needs of the organization is. Organization is pretty easy. Every company you work for is going to want you to, keep your customers and make them more money. So that's pretty easy. But the customer, sometimes they're in a situation where, hey, I submitted this service ticket and it's not been looked at. This is, priority for us, and we need help. So to make sure you understand why they need help, and explaining that to the folks in your organization is that, hey, this might not look like a priority, but this is holding up X, Y, and Z for this customer. Let's see if we can make this a priority. So a lot of that internal advocacy is probably the best trait that you can provide, that empathy.
Oh, that's awesome. I really love that answer. And I hope you all do too. So we have another question from the team. What's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, no, that's good. Let's see. On a typical day, I typically have meetings back to back most of the day, and some of that and it varies. So I'll block off time for things like training, block off time for lunch, make sure that I have another break somewhere in the afternoon where I can, just answer email. But typically the first thing I do is check my customer status with respect to their usage, because one of the things that I manage at Microsoft for my customers is that their Azure environment. So how much cloud adoption is taking place, or how many people are using the Office tools that they purchased with their enterprise agreement, and all of those things. I'll just kind of take a quick scan, make sure that nothing's wacky or crazy. So I don't like surprises. Then I check the typically support tickets. And I'll get maybe a handful of those. Customers have issues with various things, and they'll submit support tickets, and I'll see that there are no problems or big issues there. If there are big issues, I'll get an alert typically, but if they're not, they'll just go into the queue, and I just make sure that someone saw it, someone picked it up, it's being worked, they're communicating with the customer. So that's good. If there's an issue, then I'm emailing somebody, or giving them a phone call to say, hey, I noticed this ticket didn't get picked up. Can we get that assigned? So once I go through that process and I start checking my emails, make sure that there are no customer-related issues in the emails. It's like being a babysitter, basically. So I'm babysitting, making sure that the baby stays alive until the parents are So as long as everything is cool, I'm cool and my day is cool. Once that's done, and I do all my pre-checks and I check my email for any problems, then I'll either do like a training. There's so much at Microsoft to learn, so I'll block off some time to actually do, a portion of training, or a portion of a certification, and then I'll, now we're around lunchtime, so I'm taking time for lunch. In the afternoon is where I typically load my customer meetings. So if I have meetings with customers, it's typically listening into their meetings. So they'll have internal stand-ups, and I'll just be a fly on the wall in most cases, just making sure I understand the priorities. If there's value I can add, I'll say, hey, have you thought about this, or if you considered that, maybe we can bring this Microsoft expert in the next call, that kind of thing. So I'm just listening for keywords and ways that we can be of service. And then in the afternoons, I'm typically doing administrative and planning. So like between like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I'm saying, okay, are there any things that need to be done that I haven't done yet? Any emails that need to go out, anybody who needs to be communicated with before the end of the day. And, the cycle starts again the next day.
Wow. And then bid. Like, what?
No, just to be clear, bid is sprinkled in all throughout the day. So there's always a little bit going on, but yeah, you're right. I do the bid in the evening.
That is amazing. And honestly, I have a follow-up question. We have other questions in the chat too, but as a customer success manager, I wonder, what does your team look like? Do you have some engineers? Do you have some solution specialists? What does that look like?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So absolutely. So we have, there's two core teams. So there's a core team that I work with within Microsoft, which consists of myself, the account manager, and then what they call the client technical lead, which is the person who handles all of the, technical service delivery problems. So between us, then there's another rung of people that make up all of the specializations. So I mentioned Office, there's a team specialist, there's Azure specialist, there's maybe about 15 or 16 other people that I interface with on a regular basis to support this customer. And then on the customer side, I'm typically working all the way up to IT food chain, and sometimes on the operations food chain. So at the director level, I'm talking to folks at the system administrative level. I'm talking to folks at the C level. We have a quarterly review. I'm talking to folks about exactly how we did and what we're doing, more strategy and kind of how we see things maybe 6-12 months out. So yeah, there's a lot of folks internally and a lot of folks externally that I interface with.
There's a lot of hands that go into making sure that these customers with their
Yeah, you have to be able to multitask and be a social butterfly. So if you don't like to talk to folks, this probably is not the role for you. But yeah, you can definitely make a living sitting in your home. Like I said, in shorts. I think I'm in camo today.
I know that's right.
So this is my typical work uniform.
Wow, that's fantastic. We have another question from Samaya. So what goals would an entry-level customer success associate be responsible for reaching, unlike CSM?
Yeah, so and I think the best pathway, and when we say entry level, I don't know that there is an entry level customer success role unless you work for a smaller company and they give you smaller accounts. But the role is the same whether you work with small accounts or large accounts. But everybody's got the same goals. The goals don't change, entry level or no. What I can tell you is that if you work in a customer service capacity, even if it's answering incoming support calls, that experience lends itself very well to customer success role. And you don't need to have tens of years of experience to do it. If you've got a year or two of doing that in a technical company and you're ready to take the next step, you should apply for some of these customer success roles. Now what they'll do is they'll grade the roles based on your experience level. So you may not start off making six figures. You may start off making 60, 70, which still is a pretty good start. But the more experience you have, typically you'll get more money as you go. Last year, 60% of the customer success managers had a salary increase. So if you get into the role, chances are you'll get a raise within the first year.
That is awesome. Smile, I hope that also answered your question. It's awesome. So Diamond has a question. What's one of the most challenging things for a customer service manager or customer success manager?
Yeah, no problem. And really the biggest challenge for me is just balancing everything I need to do. So I would say time management. Only because on my schedule on any given day, I'll be double and triple booked, and I have to prioritize who I see about what. And sometimes I need to be in two places at once. And there have been situations where I told people, like, look, I'm in 2 meetings right now. If I don't respond real quick, just know that I'm here, but I'm in another meeting and I'll respond. So because customers don't know what my schedule is and they'll schedule things. And if I need to be there, it is what it is. So that is sometimes a little challenging, and it can be nerve-wracking for people who aren't used to working in those types of environments.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool. We had another question from a LinkedIn user. So, hi Dennis, I've applied to a few customer success roles at Microsoft in the past, but never received any replies back. I work in healthcare as an analyst now. Any tips on how I can improve my resume to get noticed? That's a good question.
Interesting. I would definitely say highlight anything that has to do with customer interaction. But if you've applied at Microsoft, I'd say keep applying. I think I applied at Microsoft maybe half a dozen times in the past, and it just never was a fit until recently, where they were looking and I was looking at the same time. So we found each other. I'm happy to, my LinkedIn, I don't know if Chanel can drop it in the chat, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to, take a look or be a reference, especially if you apply again, let me know. I'll, see if I can grease the skids for you a little bit.
Absolutely. And shout out to you for asking this wonderful, bold question. So Diamond also asked another question. How do you stay current on customer service trends and techniques?
So I don't know if there's anything like a customer success magazine or blog, so I don't have anything like that. But for me, I have Google Alerts set up for my customers. So first and foremost, it's about them. So just understanding their business and their industry helps you add that extra value, because now I can look through the lens of, what Microsoft has to offer based on what the trends are. And I'll give you an example. I have customers who are in manufacturing. And if there's a manufacturing plant that's, gone ablaze, say overseas, I'll know about it in my Google alerts, and I can address that, because if a plant is down, that means they're moving resources. They're probably going to be supply chain constraints. There's going to be things that we may be able to do technically to get ahead of it, versus being reactive to when, they call us. So the short answer is, I don't have a resource for you specifically, but basically I try to keep as up to speed on my customers as possible.
That is so cool. So mine has another question. Do you work overtime sometimes?
That's a good question. And one of the greatest parts, and it depends on the company, I should say. The good thing about Microsoft is they're very respectful of time. And, at 5 o'clock, I'm done. Till 8 o'clock the next morning. They will get their time. And if I do need to work over, I will. But most days, I'd say, 90% of the time, I clock out and I don't have to think about it anymore until the next morning. Because the way they're structured is someone else will pick up and be responsible for any emergencies after hours. And my customers aren't expecting me to be there at 5:30.
Wow, that is so great. That's good. Work-life balance is so necessary and needed, especially when you are doing other things as well in the community, like Mr. D. So I did go ahead and drop it in the chat, so feel free to go ahead and connect with Mr. Dennis on LinkedIn. We have another question that popped up as well from Dominique. What's the best piece of career advice that you've received?
Know your craft. I think that's the best piece of career advice I've ever received. And that can be applied to a lot of different things. But basically, if you know what you're talking about and you're confident in what you're saying, people will respect you, and you will be able to get paid based on your level of expertise. So, it mitigates, the naysayers, it mitigates imposter syndrome, it builds self-confidence, and confidence breeds success, success breeds money, money breeds women. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. But there's a lot of ways that, knowing your craft is the best advice that I received.
That is so fabulous and such a great answer as well. We have another question from the team. What are some of the platforms customer success managers use? Do you have a favorite?
So Gainsight is probably the most popular. And Gainsight is, I guess you could equate it to a CRM. So if you've used a Salesforce or HubSpot, Gainsight is probably in that realm. It's a SaaS platform where you enter all the data. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the only one that I've used outside of Microsoft internal tools. But Gainsight is pretty strong.
That's so dope. I've never heard of Gainsight, so I just learned something new. We have another question here from the team. Can you tell us about your interviewing process? How did you prepare for it?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, and I went back to the first, when I first pivoted into the customer success role, because the other roles, it wasn't like a preparation process. It was like, oh, you were a customer success manager for them. You can do the same thing for us. Come on, let's go. So once you're in, you're kind of in, as long as, you can, adequately articulate what it is that you do. But when I was going from sales into customer success, I leaned on all the things that I thought would make me a strong candidate, which again was that empathy, I talk to customers about their problems, and as a sales rep, I find technical solutions to those problems. I definitely had a couple of examples of where I solved problems, how I communicated well with teams both internally and externally, what that a high stress environment looked like, and how I managed it. So things like that. It's always good to have examples that you can fall back on, either directly, or even if you haven't experienced it directly, if you experienced it indirectly, or someone on your team has experienced it, you can reference that as well. I saw how this person worked through this problem, and that's exactly how I would have done it if it were me. Those types of things, if you don't have strong examples that you can rely on. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that's a great question. A great answer. Yeah, we have some folks clapping it up in the chat and loving it.
Oh, another Schultz represent.
Yeah. We have another question from Dominique. What's one thing you learned in the role that you wish you knew earlier?
That I don't necessarily have to know everything technically. I was trying to learn everything. I was like, I need to be an expert in all of this stuff, and I don't have to know anything technically. But really, you don't necessarily have to be the smartest person in the room with the answers to technical solutions. That's not the role. The role is to make sure you identify the folks who can answer the questions, and make sure that you have a good enough relationship where you can say, hey, I know this might be outside of your purview, but I know you know the answer. Can you help me here? And those types of relationship skills are the thing that, I wish I knew earlier, because it would have made my life a lot easier on sometimes where a customer says, hey, I need this done. And instead of me trying to do it, just call Johnny. You know how to do that.
Wow. Leveraging. Okay. Leveraging the team, honey. I love that. The other Schultz is also laughing. She was really excited when you called her out. So that's amazing. We have another question from the team. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, and how did you handle it?
I used to more when I was earlier in my career, and I still do sometimes. I'm not going to front. It's something that is there, but less now. And the only reason I experienced imposter syndrome is because I just assumed everybody knew more than I did. I don't know how many times I've been in meetings with folks where I thought they were the geniuses, and they were like, hold on, let me Google that. So, people put, too much emphasis, and they're too hard on themselves when it comes to, what they know, and everybody's on a different, path in their journey. There's going to be somebody smarter than you, and you're going to be smarter than somebody. If you really are dedicating yourself towards a specialization or a profession, just know that you're not competing with anybody but yourself. So that's kind of how I dealt with imposter syndrome. And I realized that, hey, there's only so much that I personally can control. And I can't control those other people, but I can control me. And that makes me rest easy at night.
Wow. I have a follow-up question to that. So with all the things that you're doing, with all the people that you talk to, with all the energy that you have to expel to continue to build these relationships and build trust, how are you also managing your own personal mental health? Like, how do you fill yourself back up again?
Yeah. So that's a good question too, man. I didn't think. So there's a couple of things, and hopefully I don't take too much time on this one.
Listen, this is
so. First is that just a general mindset that I have, which is, control what you control, let God handle the rest. Right. So I don't really worry about stuff too much. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when I do start to feel like I need motivation, I like to walk. That's my thing. That's my preferred form of exercise. So I'll walk and listen to hip hop. So I'll walk an hour, listen to a Nas album, and I'm good. I'm typically that simple. But on harder days, and sometimes it's harder for me some days, I'll actually reference my purpose, right? So I have an emotional purpose list, and it's a list of things I created about, 25 years ago, and it's literally a list of about 30 things of why I do what I do, and that's personally and professionally, volunteer wise, everything. And on that list, I don't have anything financial on that list, by the way. So this is an emotional purpose, because sometimes money is not the motivator, or it can't be the motivator for all situations. So, when you aren't motivated by money, or getting up to get a check is not the thing that inspires you, you got to draw on something else. And my list has things like, make my family proud, or, be an inspiration to the next generation of Black men, or, and it goes on like that for 30. And by the time I get through like 5 or 6, I'm usually ready to go again. I don't even have to go through that. But if you read those through and you actually write them out and you understand your why, those are the things that will keep you going and, give you that endless energy.
That is amazing. Y'all, I hope you're taking notes, because I'm over here taking notes too. And that's some really great advice as well. I feel like sometimes we can forget the why while we're trying to manage the why for others, right? And what their whys are. So absolutely 1,000 plus one. And thanks so much for sharing that tip as well. And also taking a walk, honey, and putting on your favorite album and just going. That's also really dope too. We have one more question from the collective. Could you tell us a bit more about BIT? Yes. And what has led to its creation? Yes.
That is a good question. These are also good questions. All right. So BIT was inspired by our founder, Greg Greenlee, who is, he's a DevOps engineer in Cincinnati, Ohio area. And Greg, about 2008, he decided that he wanted to get together with some folks and, see more Black people in tech. He was like, he's the only person in his company that was doing something technical, and he wanted to see more Black folks. So he started his online community. And, it just kind of grew organically. And between 2008 and 2017, that whole, like almost a decade, people just started organically finding BIT and, joining on. And somebody said, we should have a conference. So in 2018, they had the first conference, and the nonprofit was born in 2017 to support the conference. And that first conference had about 1,000 people. And they had it in Minneapolis. It was cold in October, I remember. And at that conference, it was just basically at the time, a bunch of folks who got together who were communicating online for a long time and finally got to meet each other. So it was kind of a cool vibe, right? It's like, oh, that's what you look like for real, that kind of thing. Kind of like COVID. And then we decided to formalize it. We were like, well, we'll create chapters. And I created the New York City chapter in 2018, grew that to about 1,500 members. So I was in Jersey at the time. That was a phenomenal experience. And then I moved. So when I moved, Greg was like, well, we still want you with the organization. Why don't you join the board? And I joined the board, and then I joined the he made me the executive director, basically leading the foundation, the nonprofit piece. So all that to say is, since I've been in the position of being a board leader, in the position of leadership in the foundation, I made it my mission to provide services specifically for the underrepresented community of Black folks. So you think Black people are, they're underrepresented as a whole, but there's a subset of Black folks that are really underrepresented. So I want to work with those folks to get them jobs and make sure that they have family sustainable wages, I guess is the best way to put it. And going from the people that I look at in my family, my immediate and extended family, my cousins, my aunts, who work 2 jobs or work in retail or, doing waitressing or bartending. And I'm like, y'all doing it the hard way. There's an easy way to do this, and it doesn't require a 4-year degree. In fact, it doesn't even require you to have an associate's degree. In fact, it doesn't even require you to have a boot camp. You can learn this stuff in 3 to 6 months and actually get a job that somebody will hire you for, making, starting out at 50 plus. So, I am working for those folks first and foremost, and then everybody else who's already in tech. We provide camaraderie, mentorship. I think we have like over 40 different point programs that we provide. Right now, we got free services for Google certifications. If you want to learn UX or Android, we got programs with Udacity, Coursera, Facebook, Springboard as boot camp, Perscolis. I like I said, 40. I won't give them all. They're all on the website. You can find them, but there's a lot of resources out there available to you, including resume reviews and interview prep. We can provide you with a coach if you need something technical done that you don't know how to do. If you're an entrepreneur, you need funding. We have, the back door to a lot of these accelerator programs and boot camps and VCs and non-dilutive capital that will get you some money in your pocket for your project and ideas. It's just so much. We gotta have a Madden gaming tournament. Oh man, we gotta have a Madden tournament just for Black folks. I'm giving away I think I'm gonna give away $25,000 for the winner at the conference.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well to know too, because they also have career fairs monthly, and it's absolutely phenomenal with amazing companies that you can also talk to one-on-one as well. So definitely plug in. I went ahead and put the link on the screen, blacksintechnology.net. Please subscribe to their newsletter as well, because all the information Mr. Dennis is sharing, you will also get every Monday religiously. So definitely lean into that as well. We're so excited to have had you, Mr. Dennis. This is absolutely phenomenal. I want us, if you all enjoyed this session, I want you to take a moment and I want you to take a selfie, okay? Take a selfie and tag Mr. Dennis on LinkedIn and say thank you, all right? So go ahead and go to this website here, bit.ly/MMC-TMB. It is gonna take you to our virtual photo booth, or you can aim your phone at this camera. If you're not camera ready, just upload one of your favorite pictures, add a border, and go ahead and tag MMC and Mr. Dennis. I did go ahead and put his in LinkedIn. I'm actually going to go ahead and highlight that again. All these questions were so amazing. Shout out to each and every one of you as well. Mr. Dennis, did you have anything else, I guess, before we close that you wanted to definitely say and highlight?
No, I had a ball. Hopefully I wasn't too blunt. Sometimes I overshare.
Oh, this is great. This is great. I felt like I was at the cookout with my uncle, honey. He was giving me all the tea.
But the way I learn is, through people's real life experiences. And, the books I read are primarily biographies, learning from other people's successes and mistakes. And hopefully somebody can learn from my story.
I hope you all are leaning into that, because I learned so much about CMS that I'm actually also going to lean into and refer other mentees to kind of lean into that as a career option. So go ahead, take a selfie, make sure you tag us on LinkedIn and or Instagram, tag Bit in it, Blacks in Technology. They're on Instagram, LinkedIn. Make sure you join the Slack that's also in the link I just shared. But yeah, until next time, everyone, we hope you all have an amazing rest of your evening. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Good Friday for those who do celebrate. And until then, bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good one, everyone.